All right, tonight is the White House Correspondents Dinner, and for the first time as president, Trump will be attending. He's still traumatized from what happened in 2011. Let's play the clip.
Say what you will about Mr. Trump. He certainly would bring some change to the White House. Let's see what we've got up there.
It's pretty much come true.
Here's the lie.
So that right there, that really broke him, that being humiliated by a black man. And, this is why historians and scholars tell us this is why dictators, fascists, strongmen go after comedians first, because they're fragile egos. They cannot handle any sort of self-deprecation. They cannot laugh at themselves. And so comedians, we saw that with Kimmel. That's who they go after first. He has been so wounded over Barack Obama poking fun, all white fun, because he's a titty baby. And then all the people surrounding him are titty babies. These men are the biggest bedwetters on the planet. Pumps.
I look at all of the stuff with Trump. He has been trying to feed his ego his whole life. And so all these people are saying, oh, you're funny, your hands are big, you're a great athlete. But it boils down to look at everything he wants. He wants the Nobel Peace Prize because Obama has it. He tore up the Iran nuclear agreement because Obama did it. He is so jealous of this man. And I'm sure it stems from the fact that he's black, but this was like the stake in the heart. This is where he couldn't take it anymore. All of this suffering because he is such a fragile ego with a teeny weeny peeny mad at a black man. And so we're at war with Iran because he couldn't just keep it in place because of a black man. Oh,
Josh.
Well, I think we see this time and time again from Trump, and it's like he continues to outdo himself, like with tweets. We just talked about some post he had about a 20-year-old news article about how great he was on some stupid reality show. We talked earlier also about different bills that were being proposed to name various things after him. It's just one thing after another. If anyone attacks him, and like Jennifer said, the comedians, they're the ones that he goes after first because it strikes a chord with him. Like he can't just accept any criticism.
He can't laugh at himself. He just cannot,
no.
Which is such an unattractive quality when people can't be self-deprecating. And he has surrounded himself by equally broken people who would rather embarrass themselves by heaping this superficial, outright diabolical lies about him. Like, oh, you're so smart. You're the greatest president. They know it's bullshit. They all know it's lies. But these people are more broken than he is because to some extent, Trump understands that he's humiliating them and that they go for it. And so according to the Daily Beast, this year, Trump is coming to seek revenge against the press. And just a little personal note, Pumps and I were invited to the White House Correspondents Dinner, and we said, no, thank you.
No, thanks.
And I support all of the independent journalists and content creators that are going, no critique there. I just didn't want to be there. And I'm trying to talk to people less, not more. But I digress. All right. From the Daily Beast, here is what they're reporting about Trump's revenge. Pop this up. Donald Trump will launch a revenge attack on the White House media when he confronts them in person at a Washington dinner on Saturday night, then flee before there can be revenge. He is expected to target publications that he has accused of writing negatively about his administration and his war with Iran, in particular, according to sources. So basically, this is just any Saturday in America. He does this every single day. He will not shut up about some journalist he's mad at, or the failing New York Times and fake news CNN. So this is just a typical Saturday in America,
Well, and he better block out 3, 4, 5 hours if he's going to detail every media outlet that's been critical of him, because other than Fox and a couple of the other conservative outlets, like nobody has been favorable about his performance as our commander in chief as of late.
Yeah. And I will say in that, even though they're not favorable, they sure do a good part in sane washing it.
Absolutely.
They definitely, especially corporate media, not our independent people like us and our peers in independent media, but corporate media does a great job. The president weighing a difficult decision with the Strait of Hormuz and Iran. And they report it like this competent person is sitting behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office. And he's just like pros and cons. And he's got, these smart people around him. None of that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
None of that is happening. He's sitting there coloring on his coloring book of the arch and all sorts of shit, and then practicing his signature, which he enjoys very much doing. And that's what I remember when we were young. Sometimes you get in your diary and you'd write your name and then the guy you wanted to marry's last name over and over in cursive. Every time I see him doing that, I'm like, this is what he's doing.
It's so gross. And here's the deal. If he's not playing golf and talking about how hot the people are that he's playing golf with, I mean, he does. Here's the thing. I'm with Josh. I think he starts it with this is for every single fake news outlet, except for Fox, OAN, a couple other. And then I'm a titty baby. Here's the deal. He's not funny. He is not funny.
No.
Yeah, it's going to crash.
He's unintentionally funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he makes a jab, but he thinks people are laughing with him and they're laughing at him. That's true.
Okay. And then we have this weird shit going on so the media that he used to love, like Tucker and Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens and Alex Jones, they're all like, boo-hoo, we're breaking up with you. You suck. You've got dementia. Your approval rating's 30%.
Right.
We still have a lot of life to live and money to make. Bye. See you later. So now they're shifting. The right-wing media ecosystem is so bizarre. Now we have Tucker promoting alleged child rapist Russell Brand's book. Pop this up. Tucker Carlson posts, we're proud to announce the launch of our new bookstore with Russell Brand's How to Become a Christian in 7 Days. It is the message this country needs most right now. Find it today on, and then he lists his website. I don't even want to say it out loud. What do you think about that, Josh?
Okay, I'll tell you what I think about it.
You go, Pumps.
Oh, sorry. Here's the thing. If you want to sit there and tell me that Russell Brand, he's no longer accountable to his crimes against women and children because now he's a Christian in 7 days, I will say his trial in the UK is not going to play like it would in rural Oklahoma or Alabama, because in those Christian circles, it is about forgiveness with no accountability. I'm sorry, God forgave me, and we sweep it under the rug. It is unbelievable how people like Trump on his presidential medal or a presidential fitness award for children, he has a registered sex offender on that. This is a party of sex offenders and sexual deviants from jump. But as long as they say, well, I'm a Christian, evangelical Christians are so used. Their MO is forgiveness with no accountability. And so Russell Brand writing a book about it, that's exactly what I would expect.
And Josh, I mean, you're a criminal defense attorney. How many times do you have a person who's charged with crimes come into your office and a part of their, defense is, I'm going to get saved again?
And I'm going to write a book about it. I mean, that's immediately would be like, no, you're going to keep your fucking mouth shut for now. But I want to get back to something that sort of catches my attention. It seems like every other story where we cover something Christian, we're also covering some level of pedophilia.
It does.
I mean, it's just like the two go hand in hand. And if you're Tucker and you're going to book a guest that has written a book about Christianity, maybe not get someone like Russell Brand.
Maybe not a pedophile.
Yeah, who's been accused of having sex with minors and just an awful person. But I mean, this shit just goes neck and neck with each other. Like it's one and the same with this group.
And here's Russell Brand on video. Okay. So here's just what I want to point out here is he has found a place in media where Megyn Kelly made a permission structure for child rapists mentioned in the Jeffrey Epstein files that 15 or 16 was really not a child. And this is where Russell Brand has found a home. At the same time, you have members of this administration plus their state-sponsored television channel, Fox News, complaining that teen pregnancies are down. You have Katie Miller complaining that teenagers are not getting pregnant. So all of this lives in the same space. We're Christians and we want to cover up for men raping 15, 16-year-old little girls. And this is just, they are normalizing this. This is not Megyn Kelly's first rodeo with normalizing this. This all comes on the foothills of the other two reports I mentioned, Katie Miller posting and Fox News complaining about teen pregnancies. And I just want to ask everybody this. When you're around a 15 to 16-year-old girl, and then you think about them being with some rich billionaire, you think about them being with Russell Brand. And if you in some way, shape, or form can make that make sense, then you're probably a pedophile. I mean, there's just no other way around it. It's just not normal. There's nothing normal about this sexualizing of little girls. And you see it it's so common in these Christian circles.
Well, and then you have someone like Megyn Kelly or Tucker Carlson, like you said, normalizing this. And as they're normalizing it, they're also taking the moral high ground of saying that we are the party of religion and of God and of moral clarity. And at the same time, you're doing this, and it's like you want to shake your head and say, where the fuck are we? Like, how do people not see through this? Like, and this gets back into, church and religion and children being molested and there's so much hypocrisy and so many different facets of our society. But for the Republicans, with all of the shit they've got going on, to think that they can take any sort of moral high ground with these types of issues is absolutely preposterous.
All right. And here's an image of Megyn Kelly and Russell Brand smiling and embracing after his podcast appearance. Okay. Here they are with he's got a big cross around his neck. She's got a big cross on, his book there. And this is what I call Christian signaling. This has been a huge component of the MAGA regime's ability to consolidate cult-like support. They accuse the left of virtue signaling, and it's nothing. And that exists to an extent on the left, but it's nothing compared to the Christian signaling and the permission structure it provides for evangelical. That is the core of Trump's base. 90% of evangelicals go and vote for a man who is an adjudicated rapist, a con artist. And you see it. He's not the sole problem. It is a cultural problem within white evangelical America. This is a cultural problem with an assist from Tucker Carlson, with an assist from Megyn Kelly. They provide permission structures for men to be able to rape girls, period. And then this has been some great news. Finally, there's a poll that I'm like, oh my gosh, pop this up. Fox News poll shows Americans prefer Democrats to Republicans on the economy. They show them at Democrats +4 for the first time since 2010, you guys. This to me is the biggest messaging. Of course, we're anti-Trump, and we have done too many episodes talking about the incompetence of MAGA and Republicans. The biggest thing Democrats need to message is how awful Republicans are on the economy. The Republicans have perpetuated this lie my entire life. We're so good with business. Wealth trickles down. And, I can't vote that way because I'm about business. Republicans are fucking horrible at business. Horrible, horrible. They write checks that their accounts can't cover. And it's always some sort of fuckery with the economy, which is happening right now. These white Republican men are horrible with the economy. And the market is always so much better under Democrats. Those are the facts. And I hope that the Democrats can message outside of being anti-Trump and start messaging on this stuff too, Pumps.
Well, and here's the thing about the Democrats. They're so bad at messaging. Like, this is not new information to people, but it's just now starting to seep through because Trump is so bad. But not only are Republicans bad with the economy, they take money away from Americans and their constituents through SNAP. They call Social Security an entitlement, yet they're willing to spend all this money to go to wars and, bail out other countries. And for me, like, the strongest economy message is we're going to raise the minimum wage. We are going to help you with childcare. We are going to make housing affordable with a plan to do it. But here's the thing. I'm just a little pessimistic because I just do not see, a handful of Democrats are rising to the occasion that we have right now. Hopefully they'll be able to look at this poll and say, okay, now we can talk about how they're trying to take away Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, all of that stuff. But I'm not super optimistic, honestly.